Yeah, so how is our medium evolving? Well, out of home is really in an incredible growth phase right now. We are, I think, hotter than we've ever been. I think the nature of out of home, which we've heard here today, the need for context, the need for reaching consumers in a different, more authentic way, those are all things that we can serve. So we're really kind of trying to play to our strengths and developing a world where we can leverage all of the great things that our medium encompasses when it comes to digital, to video, as well as our static side, and play that against the fact that we are now very connected to other types of media formats, but you can really essentially use contextual targeting to reach consumers through us.
You're right. Out of home, historically at least, was not very digital and not very programmatic, and that's really changed. Can you talk about how maybe that's evolving and why why brands can use the medium in more effective ways? Is that because of that?
Yeah, because we are becoming more and more digital. We're always going to be a little bit static too, right? Like it's all about, in our case, it's about location, whether it's a billboard or a transit station or an airport or a place-based, right? Like it's about where that sign is. But as the signs become more digital, you can do a lot more. You can use data, you can get a message up much quicker, you can build sequencing, and you can tie in a very efficient way into other types of media campaigns that way. So there's a lot of opportunity in doing so in out of home today, and we keep evolving and we keep doing more and more. And programmatic, of course, is an area that is of great promise to us and an area that's growing fast in out of home. Programmatic and automation. So not just the ability to buy it on the exchange, but also for an advertiser or an agency to buy it directly from a media company.
So stepping away from just out of home, big picture wise, there's a lot of talk about the future of media and how habits are changing. At the same time, we've got a lot of pressure on media to perform. Can you talk about how you see that evolving over the next, say, year?
Yeah, how do I see media evolving over the next year or two? It is a very tricky question. On one hand, consumers, I think, have never consumed more media in their lives. At the same time, they're starting to get really, really protective of their data, of their opinion, and of how they interact with brands and even media channels. We're also going into an election year, which I think will be interesting in the US to see how the hearts and minds of people are changing as we're going into a heavy political battle. Last time, that was a tricky situation, I think, for most consumers. So my answer is I don't know. I think it's tricky. I think advertisers and media companies have to be very careful of how they're treating their audiences. I think consumers are changing fast also with generations. So better understanding, all the different age groups and what they're looking for and probably being more mindful of, we're talking a lot about privacy and data regulation. That's going to be a big one that's going to influence us too. But it's complicated is my answer, which is not an answer.
Lastly, how does out of home kind of maybe graduate to the place where it's the center of campaigns for many brands versus a complementary product?
Yeah, that's how do we become more of a center of a media campaign rather than a complementary product? Well, that's the big question for us, and honestly, that's the reason I took this job. I think out of home really has the right and should be in that center. I think it's about technology helping us being able to have better visibility into the out-of-home imagery that's out there, right? So you can buy across, you can actually easier do a national campaign in out-of-home. Digital's certainly a big help. And then the connectivity into other media channels that we have now with social media, with mobile, with QR codes, with, programmatic, et cetera. I think that's really how we're gonna get there. End of the day, we are a medium that consumers love and appreciate, remember, and trust. So the ability to put out of home sort of as a glue in between other media formats in a campaign can, in my opinion, really help building stronger connections to consumers. Then obviously, as we're talking about retail media, which is not just about leading to a purchase, but maybe even inspiring a purchase, we're right there. We're also, I would say, the last serendipitous medium. We target everyone, not just one particular group, which means that discovery is going to be a huge one for our medium, which I think all media companies need today.